Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Addington News, brought to you out of the Bricken Winning Owners Bar, the little tool we have here we're going to have a play with once again, Darren. But going back to last week, and Friday night was an exceptional race night. Yes, there was a few upsets, but gee, the turnover was good.
Yeah, turnover's just shy of 1.5 million, so that would put it in the top 7 or 8 race meetings for a season. So really pleasing. We did have 12 races, we had a lot of horses.
Yep.
And we had a lot of fun with a whole lot of favourites coming unstuck, which is, I think Craig Thompson texted me halfway through the night when we were both in the office and said he hadn't seen so many favourites beaten in a row.
No.
So it was one of those nights, and whilst we haven't got the GBR yet, I believe it's around the 25% mark. So very pleasing. The stakes were a little bit higher, and we've not only got out of jail but made a wee bit of money for the code there, so that's a good stepping stone going forward. 11 races this week, and we're thinking the next couple of meetings, just with the volume of age group races, there could be a dozen races on those cards, so we want still to have opportunities for those intermediate type horses. So
Yeah, definitely.
really pleasing.
Look, one of the features was the Lamb and Haywood Canterbury Classic, and it was the return of 3 previous winners actually of it, South Coast Arden, Spankham and Self Assured, and they all raced particularly well. We can have a look at that very shortly if you like, but on Friday night there was a bit of a relaunch of sorts of the Smoker, which is out in Chunky's Corner. Tell me a bit more about that, and then you're going to show us some outstanding images.
Yeah, look, it's something that the team here in the events team, led by Executive Chef Graham,
Yep.
and his team had ready to go prior to COVID. So that seems a lifetime ago now.
Yep.
We've had a couple of goes at trying to relaunch it. We've only been thrown back into lockdown again. So last week, come hell or high water, regardless of the weather and how cold it was, we were going to do it. And we give away as much food as we could give away to anyone that wanted to sample it. And it was really well received. A number of trainers and their staff come out of the stables and come over and had a bit of a go.
Yep.
We have a bar over there, and as we move forward and we get warmer, firstly it'll be open every Friday night. So next week when we've got a big meeting, it'll be open. As we get warmer, more umbrellas on the lawn.
Yep.
There's some.
It's going to be a great wee spot, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some lighting over there. There's barleaners. We've put some fence around us, some shelter from wind. So it's going to be cool.
So this is your Facebook page here.
Yeah.
And let's have a look at some of the images that came through, and you know, like that's an example. Well, it looked alright. I must admit, I tasted a bit of it. So yes, it was outstanding. We're going to do here, wasn't it? Yep.
One of those. Page 3. There's
Yep.
Graham with an
Executive
absolute
chef,
concentration. The councillor doesn't just jump in a box. He's John Anderson.
Yeah, and outstanding. It's on
Yeah.
that too. So yeah, no, it was really good. There's so many photos here. Getting used to making this work, but
So this is the type of thing that we handed out. This is the sort of thing that they'll have for sale, as well as brisket burgers and all this sort of stuff. You know, it's smoked for hours upon hours.
Yep.
You know, more than a day sometimes, and it's going to be another addition alongside the IRT barbecue that people will be able to go over and enjoy a bar inside it.
is that Pete? Yeah, line it
I
up.
think
That
that
was
was
free.
Pete. Yeah, he was sampling it and doing quality control, I think. But you know, like, it was a great night. This sort of information is all available on our Facebook page.
Have a go people then.
It's not bad, is it?
No, outstanding.
Yeah, so a good night. It's going to be another edition that people are going to see, particularly as we warm up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cool fun on a night where you can just stand around out here with a barrel and umbrella, grab yourself a beer or a drink and watch the racing and soak it up without having to be inside if you don't want to.
Yep, exactly. Give us an update on IRT New Zealand Cup Day tickets.
Yep, so going particularly well. So Bacardi on the green proving really popular. It's not sold out yet, but it's heading in that direction. There is a handful of corporate hospitality tickets, as we said last week, but not many. In particular, there's some still available in the Silks area of the stand.
Yep.
There's not many, it's about half sold in there already, and that's only a proportion of that room. So that's behind glass, right in front of the winning post if you want that.
Darren, it's 5 weeks today. We're filming this on a Tuesday to cup time. So if you're thinking of coming, you need to get onto it.
Yeah, 100%. And as we say, addington.co.nz for all of that information and all of the ticketing, and you buy all those online. But give us a yell if you're stuck.
Yep. The Derby and Oaks nominations. We've also got a new sponsor for the Derby too. The Sunshine team from Queensland with their new sale, which is in March. So more about that as things unfold. But tell us a bit more about how you get to the nominations and if you want to look up this sort of thing.
Yep, so this is the main page of the website, split into 3 sections at the moment. Racing events, which is where all your tickets and things for trackside dining and the like are there. Cup week, where everything else is there for Cup week. And the racing section, which we've talked about previously, has all of the racing meeting information. There's our mugs on there from various things that we've done. But as you page down, the feature racing information is there. You simply open that. We've got nominations for the Cup, rankings for the Cup, the futurity points for the graphite futurity. That's updated every Monday by the team here. And as you page down, the conditions for all of the feature races
and nomination forms,
including the Derby and the Oaks. So it's all there on the racing section. But just find your way. We're trying to put as much information on there as we can so that you can find it and you'll get familiar with coming to that section all of the time for the one place or the one stop shop, if you like.
Yep, I must get that updated. Sunshine Stars New Zealand Pacing Derby, so plenty of information coming out about that. Hey, some of the names associated with our races now, looking for name recognition. It's something they do really well in the thoroughbred world in Australia in particular. And this week, of course, we have the Alias Armbro 3-year-old Trot, and he not only was a very good racehorse, but he ended up being a pretty good side too.
Yeah, look, this is something Brian Rabbit in particular is very proud of what he's doing here, and we love it as well. Giving recognition to those previous champions, touching on the history, which is very important for the whole industry and for Addington in particular. Alias Armbro, he was a beauty. He won himself a Dominion and what was the Trotting Derby at the time, a Banks-Minchler Trotting Cup, an Audial Trotting Cup. And then went on to sire a number of horses, more than 100 left in New Zealand winners, plus a multitude in Australia, and of course left William D, who won an Inter-Dominion and a Dominion.
Yep.
So touching on that, he was trained by Brian Glidden.
A real character.
Yeah, Brian Crofts and Graham Pilkington owned him. He was a great horse, and Glid's going to be on course this Thursday. And he might just be a bit excited about being here and this recognition to one of his former champions.
Good on him. And he had another really good pacer, didn't he? Whitecliffe Whistler, remember him nipping around here and winning plenty of races. So
good fun.
Yeah, it will be. Before we get on to some competition details, I just wanted to go back to last week and show a couple of races. Now, the interesting thing here about this new race, the Lazarus Stakes, was Akuta was a red hot favourite for it, but this is Blair Orange in front on Republican Party. Check these sectionals out. Now these are the sectionals that are the last 8 and 400 metres, and he's on the markers. You just remember this horse is having to come wide, and as we roll it on, there was a lot of people disappointed in the run of Akuta. He had to start from the outside. They went 221.5 overall, which is better than a 55 mile rate. And Blair just rated this horse to perfection. Franco Mack had sat in the trail. Here's Herbie, who's a pretty nice sort of a horse, I think, for Colin De Philippi, gets through and beats Akuta home. And you'd probably look at it on face value and go, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not too sure how well he went. But I don't know that he could have gone any better, to be absolutely fair. You've also got to remember, Darren, he came out of the Hannon Memorial, where he sat parked and was able to beat Ultra Wise Guy, who's a genuine New Zealand Cup contender. Yes, you'd be disappointed if you took the $1.20, but you wouldn't write him off on that. And I think there's been a bit of panicking, he won't be in the Cup, he won't be in the Derby. All of that stuff hasn't been decided. He will definitely be in the Derby if he's 100% fit. He's probably still 50-50 for the Cup. So that just showed you how quickly the leader came home, and therefore it doesn't matter if you're Akuta, Self-Assured or any other horse in this land, you wouldn't have been able to beat him.
Look, it hasn't changed Akuta's ability. He's still got the same ability, but take nothing away from the ones that beat him home as well, in particular the winner and the outstanding driver Blair Orange in this race, which made it almost impossible for them to catch him.
Yeah.
Looking at the adjusted times that we get from the Ultimate Racebook, Akuta was the fastest 1980 metre horse for the entire night and broke 54 seconds home and still only run fourth.
Yeah.
So I think he's gone very well, make no mistake about that. But the winner was impressive.
Well,
he's a very, very good horse. And
Yeah.
Franco Mack was good. Collins too were both good as well.
Yep.
And the ones at the back of the field, it was even more difficult for them than it was for Akuta.
Well, a horse like Sandway fresh up, he basically had no chance at all. Let's go on to the feature, which was the Lamb and Haywood Classic, Canterbury Classic. And this was a good example of a brilliant front-running drive from Benjamin Butcher. He's only a young guy. He half bobbled away first time off the unruly, but once he got the front, his sectionals were outstanding. Spankham, great horse, very good run from him first up. He's a sport back in form, and those colours there of Brent Mangos, the old flashing red light was on top of his helmet. Sectionally, he was outstanding, Darren, and I went out to the All Stars today and caught up with Brent. It'll be on the box seat tomorrow, talking about where this horse is at, and he heads to Medford now. But have a look, last horse you saw there, he'd gone past them all, South Coast Arden. So a couple of really good races, but a good example that you need to look into the form of these horses a little bit more, rather than just look at it and go, oh, Akuta didn't go any good, because he actually did.
Yeah, so looking at all those times that are available on our website and from the Ultimate Racebook, the urb.co.nz.
Yep.
There was a couple of other horses in there. McAndrew Aviator, I noticed,
Excellent.
got home really good.
Yep.
To the line, he ran through right through the line, and will improve with the run, obviously. And Greg, it was South and Forever, Craig Ferguson, Bubba Ferguson.
Yeah, good on him.
Smoke and Bandar, of course, causing a massive upset. He's a very good horse in his own right, make no mistake about that. But
Sunday Sun
having a gallop mid-race, and Muscle Mounting making a complete botch at the start,
yep.
which unfortunately put him out of action and just added to the favourites getting beat on the night.
Well,
Smoke and Bandar good, and Craig won the last race as well. And
yep.
with
really smart horse who's now unbeaten too.
Very good.
Look, on Smoke and Band, he loves Addington. He's won, I think, 5 or 6 races from a dozen starts now. So yeah, he's absolutely low flying. What about, Darren, the SENZ Survivor Series? It's proving pretty popular, and let's face it, it's free, and you get a chance to have a table for 10, or you could win a table for 10 on IRT New Zealand Cup Day, which is a pretty hefty sort of a prize.
Yep, look, Google SEN Survivor, it's an orange page, you can't miss it.
Yep.
Free entry. We've got 3 more race meetings at Addington, so the winners from each of those will get a voucher for Mitre 10 on the night, and they go in the draw with 3 other people, so 1 in 6 chance to win yourself a table for 10. So get involved in that, it's free, have a crack.
Yep, I certainly would suggest you do that. It's really easy to find place getters here.
Yeah, simple, especially last week.
Yeah, really good going. Next week, Darren, we've got an exceptional meeting here. It's the Harness Million race meeting, where we'll be racing for some very good money with New Zealand Bloodstock Standard Bred, and there's some good races there too. The Canterbury Park Trotting Cup, which is very much sought after, and the $100,000 flying stakes for the 3-year-olds.
Yeah, look, it's a huge race meeting. It's a premier race meeting with all of those features. We're really looking forward to the Harness Millions races for New Zealand Bloodstock, doing a great job obviously for the industry, and they're going to be very, very good races. The 3-year-old race, presumably it's got a Cooter in it, horses that went round again, plus the Canterbury Park Trotting Cup, and
music and spectators, you'll have that. Chunky's Corner will be open.
Yeah, so there's plenty going on. I think we've got the HRNZ conference
at
over
the same
that period
week.
of time, so they're upstairs. We've got members night, so if you're a member and you haven't registered for that, get in touch with the membership team. That includes a platter and a whole lot of prize draws, so a whole lot of fun there. It's going to be a really good night. You're in charge of weather, so that's sorted.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
yep, we've got an 11 race program on Thursday night, including heats of the Nevele R, the Sire Stakes. Don't Stop Dreaming, who's unbeaten, returns off the back of a pretty solid trial. So looking forward to getting into the full preview. But yeah, he's probably going to be an anchor for most people. Don't Stop Dreaming, certainly from his draw. And at the end of all of this, we'll catch up with a former Nevele R winner. Her name, Carabella. She was basically unbeatable through that early part of her career.
All right, let's get into a full meeting preview. Greg, I got the smoker behind me, so I've not apologised to all the vegetarians out there, but there are vegetarian options in Spectators if you're not into all of this meat, which I know everyone really enjoyed last week. So just changing the photos up a bit every now and then. Race number 1, we get underway at 4:35. McGoldrick Auctions Amateur Drivers Mobile Pace, 1980 metres.
Yeah, a number of these races tonight, Darren, are associated with McGoldrick Auctions and Harcourts 4 Seasons. Stevie Golding and Steve Alford both getting involved in the race night, which is great. They've been good supporters in the past. Yes, this amateur race, I reckon Wolfenstein might take some beating. Gets in to the barrier and from normal unruly spot and comes up with barrier 3. I like its chances this week. Barry White driving for Maddie Williamson. Give it a good chance. Both Change Around and Rock and Var from the house team have been racing well. You've got to have them in, and maybe drops well back in grade, so I'd give it some sort of chance too. But I reckon Wolfenstein, if it can get to the markers and get to the front, it'll take some beating in the first.
Race 2 is the first leg of the early quaddie, the Graphite Developments Futurity Prelude, a mobile 2600 at 5:04 wrap to get this race underway for the people that have paid up for the series, Greg, and there's some talent amongst these nominations for the series.
Yeah, there definitely is. And there's a bit of talent here last week that, well, the punters got well and truly shellacked, as we know. And Lone Wolf was one of those. They really came for this horse, trained by Brent and Tim White. Obviously, had trialled nicely and just got it wrong early on, broken the score up and, was never in the race after that. 2,600 metres, I think that'll help. Should be a little bit more settled behind the gate. And if that happens, I reckon Lone Wolf will go close to beating Franco Novelist, the Stephen McRae team. They just slot them in fresh up, and you think they might need one. Not very often they do. So you'd have to have it. Tactile's done nothing wrong in 3 runs today, and Philadelphia Philly's gone well in her 2 runs too. So I'd give her some sort of chance. 8, 2, 4, and 7 in the second.
Race number 3 is the Nevele R 3-year-old Fillies Heat, 1980 a mobile, 5:35 and series 44 of this. The Sire Stakes board and their sponsors have done such a great job in looking after these fillies on behalf of the industry, and so many have gone on to do a good job, Greg, and this race is a good one as well.
Yeah, it is. Queen of Diamonds inside second row. Really loath to be tipping a horse drawn there over the 1980. And that might give Obsession the opportunity. If you go back to that Oamaru heat, and Obsession was second, narrowly beaten by Queen of Diamonds, I reckon they might press forward with Obsession, and that'll make her really hard to beat. So not much between them. A Better You from the Purdon Cullen team as well has been good this time in. She's a Group 1 winner as a 2-year-old, so you've got to respect her. And Chambray has done very little wrong this campaign either, so it's got a chance too. But I'll go for Obsession over Queen of Diamonds just by virtue of the fact if Tim Williams goes forward, he may well end up 5, 6, 7 lengths in front of the other filly, and that might be the difference.
Race number 4 is the Stevie Golding at Harcourts Hornby Trot, 2,600, 6:05. Good fella Stevie, enjoys the support of the racing industry, and we like supporting him when he comes to Addington. Does a good job for everyone, including assisting with the Murray Evans fundraiser just recently.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a former national junior driver champion, so appropriate that he's in behind this juniors race. Look, I reckon our Pinocchio can win it, but I don't think it's a good thing. Caleb Bublett's driving for Phil Williamson, racing really well, so you've got to have it in. Give a strong chance to Sonoma Tyron. Sarah O'Reilly driving for Patrick. This horse has only had 2 runs back this time in. She's been good in both of them. And if she's able to step and find the front, it'll take some catching, I think, on Thursday night for Sarah. Make My Sundance form's just gone off a little bit, but can bounce back here. And Agui is not the worst. Carter Dalgety driving for Kevin Townley. I'll mark them 10, 7, 5, and 6, but it is definitely one of the trickier races of the night. You probably got to have Love Rose in there somewhere because she's a bit of quality too. But tricky leg if you're playing the quaddie.
Last leg of that early quaddie is the Michael Bendel at Corcoran French, mobile 1980 at 6:35.
Yeah, they use Corcoran French a lot, the Harcourts team, so great to have Michael's name associated with this one. Carrera Rapido tried to get into the Sire Stakes heat. Gee, there were some nominations for that, Darren, and horses like it and Holy Hecker, who was outstanding in that maiden heat, couldn't get a start in it. So I reckon the 1-4 Quinella, whilst I wouldn't say it's a lock, certainly a very good chance of happening. So I'll go 1 over the 4, not much in that. 13, which is Dalton Shard, was really good in behind Daredevil last week. So it's got a chance, even though it's got a second row draw. And Shell Shock follows through Carrera Rapido. So I expect it to get a really economical trip. The one that got the punters and me last week was Major Talk, gallop not long after the start. It's probably an each way chance in this too, but I'll leave it out of 4, 1, 4, 13 and 10.
Race number 6, as we said, the Alias Armbro 3-year-old mobile Trot, 1980, 7:04, and a really good horse resuming in this race, Greg.
Yeah, he's an exceptional horse, Highgrove. He comes up with the outside barrier draw, and you know that's to be expected because he's the best horse in it. So, yeah, look, he'll need to be better than them, and he's trialled nicely. The latest trial behind Majestic Lavros would suggest he's pretty forward for this. But it won't be easy for him, Darren. Sonny Louis a horse I've got a lot of time for. Excellent fresh up. Really good run from him. Second and behind Hot to Trot, who was third in the Northern Derby. And behind the horse we just mentioned, Highgrove. And Mystic Max is first up. Blair Orange with a bit of a quandary there. He didn't know whether to drive El Conqueror or Mystic Max. He ended up going with Mystic Max. He's Group 1 place as a 2-year-old, as we know. And I'm sure Michael Purdon will have him ready to go. So Highgrove, the one to beat. Horse I'm really looking forward to seeing how far he can progress against his own age group as Sonny Louis, and he might be nice each way value there.
Race number 7 is the Dunstan Horsefeed Sire Stakes, heat number 2, mobile pace, 1987-36. Massive supporters of the entire racing industry, Dunstan Horsefeeds.
Yeah, they are. They're great supporters, and they've got a really good series here. Oh, look, Treacherous Gal's first up run was absolutely outstanding. Charged Home, that was off the back of being unbeaten in her last campaign. Robbie Close and Regan Todd, that was in behind Artie by the Seaside, who's been excellent in both of her runs. I reckon Treacherous Gal can turn the tables here. It'll be racetrack related as in terms of what the run they get, but I'll go 8 over the 7. Delilah's Girl's been good at the trials. Robert and Jenna Dunn, beautifully bred this one by Better's Delight out of Anvil on Fire. And Caitlin Denario was good in 2 runs last time, and although we expected her to win probably both of those, there was nothing wrong with that. Nathan Williamson trains and drives. 8, 7, 3 and 6.
Race number 8, so Stevie and Steve, Thank You Racing, mobile 1980 at 8:06. And of course, Street Art was the one of Craig Ferguson's that back-to-back wins, two starts, 2 wins last week. Bethan Muir, heavily involved with the Wyndham Club, was up here, and I know he got a real kick out of that as well.
Yeah, really smart horse. Just bolted and drawn up to try and do something similar here. This is a bit deeper though, Darren. You got Franco Indy, the Sire Stakes winner. You got Don Morrow, who was in behind Artie's Express. Really good run from it last time. It's been racing well. You got off the second row, Cyrus. You got O'Needon Mickey. So, it's a deep race. I'm going to leave Street Art out, but I'll be interested to see how he fronts up against these. I'll go with Franco Indy. I think they're putting some blinds on him, which would probably sharpen him up a wee bit. He wanted to wander around a bit. And saying that, Darren, he had to work really hard to get the lead. So, that was behind Franco Mack, who's franked that form once again by running second behind Republican Party last week. So I'll go 9 over 7 Don Morrow. I give Eden Mickey a chance and I give Cyrus a chance. But this will be a great form race leading into Cup Week. I am absolutely sure of that.
Race number 9, Woodlands Stud Size Stakes Heat number 3, mobile pace 1980 at 8:36, and another beauty, Greg.
Yeah, race to race to race. There's just good race after good race at the moment. And this is a key race, Darren, because these horses are trying to make the Sire Stakes final on Cup Day. Don't Stop Dreaming's had an interrupted preparation. You would have seen him before now otherwise. And he's got the New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred Harness Million next week. So stepping stone, yes. Barrier draw, perfect for him. Won at the trials. He's only had the one run. He'll improve off it. But from this draw, he might be able to just lead and dictate, because the horses that are hardest for him to beat have all drawn poorly. Ultimeteor was one. OK Boomer, who won that Sire Stakes heat, is off the second row as well. And Who's Delight, who was second in that Sire Stakes heat, is drawn about the middle of the pack. Interested to see what Raka Murph can do. It's done nothing wrong in 3 runs today. And Da Vinci's a horse I've always had a bit of time for, and Craig Ferguson's certainly having a great run at the moment. But Don't Stop Dreaming's race to lose, even though it hasn't been perfect preparation-wise.
Race number 10, so Steve Elford at Harcourts Hornby Handicap Trot 2600, 9:05.
Yeah, Artie by the Hill for me. Excellent win. First up, Addington Raceway. Went to the mock, finished third and behind Mataderos on the grass. And we know he's basically unbeatable on that surface. So he gets an advantage over Majestic Lavros, who's off the 30 metres. The 10 metres might be enough. And I'll go that way, 8 over 11. The Bloss will step and run and put herself in the race, as she always does. And Matua Tana, well, he was on his better behaviour last time. And if he reproduces that, he's got a chance too. But yeah, 8, 11, 3 and 10.
Race number 11, the last of the card, the Mark McGoldrick Auctioneer mobile pace 1980 at 9:35.
Mark is doing exactly that, barking at the other horses saying, I'm pretty smart. He really is a good horse. He's still green as, but man, he's been good in his 2 runs today. He beat Cyrus last time. He did it really nicely. Yes, it's not going to be easy from out there, but I'm not going to tip against him. 9 to beat 14 Skittlebomb, who was an excellent winner back in June it was, has been to the trials and trialled up nicely. So expect a pretty good run. Robbie Close, Regan Todd, no matter what. Well, if you backed it at Motukarara, it wasn't a great watch, but even to get it into third was a good effort by Olivia Thornley. And there's a couple other chances like Star Casino, who are handy enough horses, but they're probably not in the same league as the ones I've mentioned. Bark to win the last on a really good night, Thursday night, an exceptional night here at Addington. Make sure you tune in via trackside or get on course, Darren. There's plenty of reasons to be here at the moment.
Yeah, come and have a drink at the Spectators after the last race. That'll still be kicking off. Have a look at the TAB site too. TAB doing a really good job of the power plays that are available on most meetings, having a look at those and seeing what other options that might be available. It's collecting up a whole lot of turnover, obviously, and people are liking some of those options, particularly where there's a hot favourite. Have a look at the pick six. We haven't got a figure yet for the guarantee as we record this, but tab.co.nz for all that information, and have a look at the Addington Raceway website, addington.co.nz, on race day, where we collect as much information, as much punting information, and in particular a number of trainers' Facebook pages where they might quickly review the horses or preview the horses that they've got running. So that's a good way of having getting a bit more information about what's going on race night. We're going to leave you with the 2011 win of the Nevele R Final by Carabella, Greg, and she was a beauty.
Next to turn then was Collectible from Highview Ebony and Tatiana Bromack. Carabella though, third quarter 29.1. She sailed 3 lengths clear. Donny Goodalight, Jump for Joy. Through on the inside late was Collectible, and Tatiana Bromack runs on. But it's all Carabella. Flying home Tatiana Bromack. She'll get close. She won't get close enough. And Carabella won it by a length and a quarter. Beat Tatiana Bromack and Donny Goodalight. Fourth over on the inside Collectible. Then Made in Splendour and Paradise City. Both good runs. Miss Elsie and Jump for Joy, Mini Moose and Highview Ebony, and then came Zingana. Peshana started to give ground down the back, and Temapara Cullen nearly fell at the first turn, demolished a near side pole, but she's okay. Temapara Cullen, that is. She's on her feet.